Hey there, it's Laurence Bradford from Learn to Code with Me, and we are continuing the CSS introduction slides. Last time we left off talking about the difference between IDs and classes, and basically these are selectors that you use in the HTML that kind of refer to a particular part of the document or the code, and then in the CSS file you can add your own style to either the ID or the classes, or one of the classes. So we kind of talked about the differences, but mostly just keep in mind that the ID is only really supposed to use once per page, but you can have multiple IDs in an HTML document, but they should each be different, so not a repeat. And then with the classes, you can have as many as you want on different elements throughout the page. And I kind of use the example of like a footer. So the footer only shows up once for the ID, but then for the class, I used, I think it was a widget or something where you could have the widget class multiple times. Okay, just go back to the last video if you have any problems understanding. So there's actually a lot of CSS selectors, and I have it. Let me go to that's for later. Okay, so W3C Schools, which is not actually affiliated with the W3C Consortium, or the W3 Consortium, but they do have some really good information, and I do like this kind of CSS selector table. So I'm not going to spend that much time looking at all these, especially because some of these down here do get more advanced. And they're kind of called, like before, after elements. And again, these are really, I honestly don't even use a lot of these. Sometimes I do, depending, that's usually like more advanced stuff when I want special effects, but scrolling back up to the top, I'd say really, I mean, these, especially for a beginner, are the most common, not this star one necessarily. But you can see they have the class, which is called with the period, so dot intro. The ID, which is the hash symbol, so hash first name. Then the elements, like a P or a heading. You can then do two elements with the comma separating them. And yeah, you can look at this one, but I also like how it says like which version it came about, sort of. So like HTML3, for instance. I mean, look at this. This is a paragraph in a UL, right? So selects every UL element that are preceded by a P element. So it means in your document, if you have a paragraph and then you have a paragraph and then a UL, only in that instance it'll select that UL. So again, this is getting into some more advanced stuff, but I have seen people use it, and I've used a few of these, but especially again the before and after attributes, or whatever you want to call them, before and after. Okay, moving forward, take a look at that. I'll add it in the show notes if you're interested in learning more about those, but this is for beginners again. Okay, so each property can have more than one values. That kind of sounds confusing, but let's take a look at this. So, and you know what? That's not true for everyone. At least I want to say that, because, for instance, let's look at this. P, okay, so that's targeting the paragraph elements all on, the page or on the website. Color, which means font color, is white, okay? Background color, so the background color of the paragraph text is going to be red, okay? Font family, Arial, comma, sans serif. Sans serif is like a backup font, just in case the computer or the browser or the computer doesn't have the Arial font like on the system. And that's always something like good to do, good practice, is to put either like serif or sans serif at the end as one of these backup things, and that's what it means by it has multiple values. So this font family has multiple values, right? It has two, 1, 2, whereas the background color and the color only have one. And why would you put for the same thing two colors, like that would be like two, you know, colors, like white and then black, that'd be confusing. And I think it would just end up choosing the last one that you set. So, but yeah, for something like font families, that's definitely, you know, you want to give it multiple values. Okay, the next property is the color property. And there's three ways you can do this. And this, you know, changes the color of the text or the color of the background, right? Or anything else you're saying a color to, like a border or something. So there's the color name, which you can see is just like red. And I listed all 17, like aqua, black, blue, fuchsia, etc. Then next there is the hexadecimal value. And I'm not like a color specialist, but basically that's like a 6-digit, well, digit or letters too, and it kind of like tells you what color it is, and it's really specific. Like obviously you only have 17 colors to choose from. That's not that specific, and you kind of want more options. And then the last one, RGB, stands for red, green, blue, and it's similar to the hex. Like it gives you way more values to choose from, but it's like the R kind of stands for how much red is in like the color, and the G would be the green, and the B would be the blue. So right, this is all red. That would be the hex value of red, color red, and C red 25500. That means red. So you're probably like, how the heck am I supposed to know what color? Obviously these are easy, but what about these hexadecimal and RGBs? Have no fear. This is an awesome site that I always use called, it's like Adobe Cooler, and it's free. And I'll link it in the show notes. But basically, what is that? F, and then 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's red, right? I could set as the base color. And then you can choose like monochromatic color schemes, triad, complementary. So it'll just give you could just play around and you get to see, did we do that one yet? Anyway, so it kind of like shows you what colors go well with the color you selected. So I always use this when I'm doing like a website or even just a design, in Illustrator or something. I always use this tool just to find colors that work well, especially if you're working with someone who has a logo and you want to find colors that work well with the logo, like on the website. This is absolutely perfect. And even better, it gives you the RGB value and the hex value. Oh, and it gives you these other ones as well. CMYK is for like printing stuff. But for these purposes, all you really need to worry about is RGB or hex. When I do colors, I always do hex. Even if the color is white or say red, I will do the hex version instead of specifying it as a color. I do that because I just want to keep it consistent. So I want all the colors in my, you know, CSS to be defined kind of in the same way. And I always use the hexadecimal. Okay. Oh, all right, I forgot I had this. Basically, same thing, the Cooler Adobe color wheel. It's awesome. It makes life easy. And I think you can, like, I don't do this, but create an account and save your color schemes that you choose. And you can also look at other people's accounts and colors they set up to get some inspiration. All right, next thing is background color, and it's pretty much the same thing as the color. You can use the like the actual color name, the hex value, or the RGB value. And yeah, same thing with the actual color name, 17 options to choose from, except, you know, with this, it's choosing the background, not whereas the color chooses like the font color. Okay. So now we're talking about font family. So you use this font family property to choose like what font you want to use. So here, what we have at first, the specific font name, Times New Roman, okay. We have a generic name, serif, and then we have a comma separated list, which goes Arial, comma, sans serif. Again, I said this before, but typically you want to always do like the backup font, kind of how the last one with the comma separated, Arial, comma, sans serif. And there are certain fonts you can always use, web safe fonts. I actually have a, Hold on, I'm going to pause 1 second so I could bring this up. I made it myself. Hold on. All right, this is actually something I made, and I could try to link to it on my in the show notes. But where is this? Okay, this is the web safe font table. I think, oh gosh, I think there's maybe 17 or so. I don't know the exact number. But we have what, the serif fonts, the sans serif. Oh, I messed that up. I did that twice. That's supposed to be monospace. Oh dear. So funny when you go back and you don't realize you make mistakes on something. Ugh, that's annoying because I have to like change this whole, anyway. Ugh. Okay. I'm so mad. I just noticed that now. But okay, so this is a series, and you get the example. You get the examples, and all of these are web safe. So Georgia, I can't say Palatino, Linotype. You get the idea. Okay. I'm sorry, this video is getting long. Okay, so then there's the font size property, and you can do 4 different ways of indicating the font. You have pixels, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, EMs, which stands for, I think it's like the space between the M's or something. Then we have REM, which means root EM, and then the percentage. I'll try to talk about these more next time, I think. But I actually use REMs on my site, and REMs are relatively new. It's with CSS 3. But again, you know what? I think I'll talk about this later because it's just going to get way too long if I do it now. But it makes the site like responsive, like based off the HTML you set. Let me show you what I mean. Oh, and there's this whole article here that talks about this on CSX Tricks, which I could also link. So see how he has this example of how it gets smaller and yeah, the font kind of like goes with the screen size. This is how he shows it here. So see how he sets a font size with the HTML and then he does a font size with REMs. That's because the way the REMs work, it kind of plays with the font size that is set up here, like the document level adjustments. So on my site, look at the sidebar. Notice now there's a breakpoint, it got smaller. And then if it kind of goes down to the bottom. Now see how small it is here, as well as the footer. And then I actually have it kind of get a little bigger then because it was hard to read. But you get the point. I like the REM, doing stuff with the REMs because it helps it just like scale better when it's on different devices. But yeah, this explains more about it, and I'll link it in the show notes. Okay. God, the last thing I want to cover, I may wait till next time because I'm already on 13 minutes. So I think I'm going to put a note there and then I'll move forward. But yeah, next time I'm going to cover the shorthand way of writing CSS. And then after that, we're talking about, okay, incorporating the CSS into your HTML document. So thank you for watching, and I'll be doing another one of these soon.